Hello and welcome to a video on how to use a school portable drawing board to create a simple third angle orthographic drawing. First of all, do take one of these home with you. They're easy to keep clean, they're very lightweight and can be very useful to you. This is known as a parallel motion and they come off very easily, so you might find that when you take yours home this has come off. It fits in this groove down the right hand side, and this both locates it and helps it slide up and down. Okay, and the other side of this, I'm going to try and move it so you can see. You will see down this end is a device which holds your paper steady. So keep your paper level there, make sure it's level all the way across and butts up to the paper on this hand side. Okay, so this is the equipment that you may find very useful. Standard set squares, and one of the most useful toolkit in any toolkit is one of these. Okay, costs you a couple of quid, available from the school, available from every single high street stationers, and will contain everything you need for most aspects of technical drawing. One of the things you may find particularly useful there is the 30-degree set square, because as you know, isometric drawing is based on 30 degrees, and if you have one of these with you, you can create really fabulous drawings for a matter of pence. But today this is also very handy. Won't be needing that today. Won't be needing this today. So I would recommend a long ruler, a rubber for errors, a very sharp HB pencil, a fine liner, and a smaller set square. So should we start? Take these to the side for 1 minute. What I'm going to show you is an orthographic drawing of this box, which has an interesting sliding mechanism. It's where I keep things like scalpels. It's a Chinese box. It's made out of very thin bamboo with a secondary wood for the edges and has this very simple sliding mechanism. So I'm going to ignore the fact that it has lettering on it. In fact, it's upside down, that lettering, and just show you how you would draw this using third angle orthographic projection. I do have some guidelines here, and I'll tell you what I've done already. I've made a note of all the key dimensions, and let us begin. Now, sometimes people get mixed up between isometric and orthographic and get panicked by what does it actually mean, orthographic drawing. Orthographic drawing is designed to help you do such an accurate drawing to scale or actual size of what you want that another person could start Miss Coffee. All right then, ignore that. Orthographic drawing of a pencil box with sliding lid and I am using third angle. Now, if you're going off to be professional draftspeople, well, you know, that would really matter. But basically what you're trying to do is show how it would work to someone who would then make it. So I'm going to change the angle of this very slightly so you can see the tools coming up. Now, press and hold, and this will move to wherever you want it to be. Now, I don't rely on it completely, partly because these are old and a bit shaky, but I am confident that it will be level. What I do is use a ruler as well, so I can go up to just below where I can see my line and use a fine liner to complete my pencils, to convert my pencil drawing lines to a final line. So I'll start with the outer edges, and as long as you can still see your own pencil line just over the top of the ruler like that. Allow for the fact that your own hand will be at a slight angle, like so. For the vertical lines, I'm going to use that. Again, they are resting on the parallel motion, so that I can be absolutely sure. Now, if you're using fine liners on any kind of surface that has slight absorbency, you can't help it. Where you start and stop, there will be a blob. So don't dawdle on the corners. Try and do them as quickly as you can. Now, just to remind you what we're doing, the box has got a trim based of routed wood, and I'm going to register that in a series of parallel lines. So I go into my inner guidelines. It takes practice to get used to these parallel motions, but they can save you a whole lot of effort, especially if you come to the technical stage of your drawing. Now, this is easy enough to draw at actual size, but if you had an item that's too large, for example, if you're an A-level student working on some kind of home desk idea, or if you are a GCSE student working on something that's going to be transported to the beach, just choose a suitable scale, and all you need to do is remember to say what that scale is when you come to finish your drawing. So this is 1:1, this is actual size, and I chose that on purpose to make it easy for me, but also so you can see how it works. Now I will put in the trim that has been chosen by the original designer, and I know that it's a mitre corner, so I can put that in using my 45-degree set square. Not perfect corners, I have to say, but I hope you'll understand the principle of this. Occasionally in exams you get shown an item, usually not terribly complicated or difficult, and you will be asked to complete a side and possibly identify what kind of drawing it is. Now, with a little bit of practice, there's evenings where you're sick to death of Great British Bake Off or anything like that, and you've done all your work and you're up to date with all your assignments, you might think, oh, I could do a bit of practice. We have encouraged you all to take one of these home, but when I asked people to take them home, they didn't know how to use them. So this is the purpose of this. Handy, especially if you've got limited space, because all you need to do is have this on whatever surface is big enough, and then learn how to use it. So that is the top of this box. Fairly straightforward. Okay. The next thing that you should do is hang on to those guidelines, because they will help you draw the next stage of this drawing, which is the side-on view. So you've got all these guidelines already. Just draw them. Try to avoid confusing you, because you don't really need that. Draw them. And so the next thing we're going to do is this box sideways on. Okay, and this is the side that opens, so the end of the box on this side will look different to the end of the box on that side. And sideways on, you can see just the edge of that top trim. So off we go again. I have to say these are particularly good, the Stabilo pens, and they come in different colours. Fine liners are not as expensive as they used to be, and if you are of the similar training as Mr. Sibbald and myself, then you will have been trained to use rapidograph pens, of which the best known brand was Rotring, which would create an immaculate line with practice, and that would be on specific types of paper. We were reminiscing the other day about this product called CS10 paper, which is phenomenally expensive, but had a fine surface coating, so you would get a really good result. You don't really need that level of skill anymore. It's done in other ways. It's done using CAD. But if you are just experimenting with what you're doing, and you are actually required to understand this type of drawing, and it may turn out to be what really suits you particularly. So now finish the edges. Keep checking your item. Yep. All I see at the corner, it's a bit battered now, but it was very well made. All I see at the corner are flat edges. So that's it. With a bit of labelling and dimensioning, that will show you exactly how it works. Now, next thing we do, I'm going to move this ever so slightly, is show you how to do the side detail. Now, you should be able to see faint guidelines all over this. Always get your guidelines to extend past where you need them, because they will turn out to be very handy in more than one place. So I'm going now back to this part of the top of this box. Now you could do a presentation of all sides of your item. Yes, I am having trouble with this. Okay, I'll just use this directly. You can as you are constructing, you think about, well, how does it work? How am I going to show this sort of sliding mechanism inside? That's when you add to your drawing, ideally the same scale, but not necessarily, a presentation of how it actually functions. So, very, very simple terms. Top is from above. That one is from the side, and this is the view of one end of it. There is something missing though. Remember I said this doesn't look the same on this side, and it looks different on this side. That's the side I'm drawing, so I need to show that line. I've already taken the measurements, and it goes across there. So very simply, that is an orthographic drawing of my pencil box. Now for dimensioning, this is also a very handy gadget to have, as long as your dimensions don't get in the way of what you're doing. So I only need one set of dimensions down here, and I do a pencil line like that. There are different ways of doing this, and everyone has their favourite. But what I like is a slight tail at this end, a slight tail at that end. Do the same here, do the same here, and then join those lines. Leave a space in the centre. Always stick to millimetres, please. It avoids confusion. And say that you are using millimetres. So this box is 243 millimetres, and just neatly put that in here. And that's exactly the same. This is the advantage of using this style of drawing. The next dimension I need is that one. I should have taken out the scalpels. They're rattling in a sinister fashion, aren't they? That one is 69. Odd measurements, aren't they? I expect they are imperial or possibly a Chinese measurement, because it's a Chinese box. So anyone looking at this will know that that dimension is the same as that dimension. Does that make sense to you? That is also 69. But if you are not sure that's completely clear, add it. But again, not somewhere where it get in your way. So I'm going to start with little end tails. Can you see what I'm doing up there? little end tails. Because you may, at some later point, this is fighting me, this thing, excuse the noise. So the measurement here is 69. And that is third angle orthographic drawing of a pencil box with sliding top, third angle, top, side, one end. Now if you wish, you can develop this to suit yourself. You know it has a different end, don't you? But this relates to that one. Do you understand? So the connecting lines will say that this is the end of that one. If you think it'll be useful, and in this box I think it is, because the other end is different, use the guidelines you have, create the second one. It's exactly the same length, it's got exactly the same depth. Oh, that's no dimension I haven't put on, isn't it? Right, Miss Coffee, put that right in a minute. The dimension of that is 37, 37. Be as neat as you can. This is 3 from the top. Hang on a minute, I've got it in my own way here. I'm going to start a bit lower. 37, 3 from the top. But this one does not have that joining line, because the under end of this box, nothing alters. So this is where you can adapt and develop this drawing to suit your particular product. Try not to get fed up with these things. In their day, hugely expensive and luxurious. And we're lucky to have them. But while they slide about, you get used to how they slide about, they can be a bit frustrating. Please don't break them. Not fixable. And right down the bottom. And then you can describe which view that is. So this is the same thing, using exactly the same measurements, but this is the end that doesn't open. Okay, remember what I said? I'm missing a dimension. I'm missing the height. I'm going to, for neatness, put it back here. And I'm going to use the same line here. The thing about these drawings is they're very neat. They're very clear. They're very simple. They don't talk about the degree of finish. Note that this one doesn't have on it. I'm going for neatness again. I've got an edge or tail or stopper. Everybody calls it different things. This is double check again on your original 37. And the scale, remember I said if you know the scale, add it. Scale 1 to 1. So every centimetre on here is a centimetre in real life. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope you'll have a go at doing it. It's this box. I am going to show you how to represent this in isometric, because that is how you'll show how it functions. So that will be the next video. Okay.